Tori Amos, it's very nice to speak to you today.
Thank you, Matt.
Glad you're here. We're here to talk about Night of Hunters. This album is a song cycle. Let's talk about how a song cycle came to be.
This German musicologist, Dr. Alexander Burr, works with Deutsche Grammophon. He approached me and said, what do you think about developing and composing a 21st century song cycle based on classical themes?
It sounds like a big project.
It's dangerous because not only are you dealing with a narrative similar to a musical, that shape and form, but then not a small addition based on classical themes. That was the linchpin for me, where I thought, you know, if you get this wrong, you just want to grow hair on your feet and go be a hobbit under a rock for the rest of your life.
So a song cycle in general is a series of musical pieces that are often played together.
The song cycle idea, the form, is really about a story without a book. The story really must be within the songs themselves, the instrumentation as well as the characters. The form is that there isn't dialogue in between, so you have to get your points and the plot. You must express it through the songs themselves.
Annabelle is the fox and the goose, the hunter and the hunted in the Night of Hunters. And who voices Annabelle?
My daughter Natasha is Annabelle, and she really helped create the role. I designed it, but she was really so much a part of deciding and infusing life into Annabelle.
She has a remarkable voice. Have you been singing together for a long time?
Since she was tiny.
Since she was tiny.
I mean, it's
all
just
along?
All along. She's been brought up with music. I think she's much more comfortable backstage than really anywhere else.
She has a real maturity and a real essence in her voice. It was really nice to hear, and there's a real connection between the voices. It was really interesting to hear. There seemed like there was a real mentorship, perhaps, that seemed apparent in the songs where you sang with Tash. And someone remarked that it was you, it was characteristic of you to upend a traditional sort of masculine project like a song cycle from a long series of male composers and make it matrilineal. It seems there's a real strong connection between Night of Hunters and The Light Princess, which is the name of your musical. You've been working on The Light Princess for a long time. It seems like there's a lot of interplay in the way that you might craft these two projects.
The musical has been, it's informed me in a way that I just would never ask certain questions that I ask now. Motivation of the character, things that I didn't have in my toolbox before I started working on the musical. They are very, very connected to each other, and they've inspired each other.
Night of Hunters deals with the potential shattering of a relationship, and I imagine that you know a bit about the chatter that happened online and other places from your fans who wondered if that was about your relationship.
I've tried to be careful over the years to protect certain details. I think there's an agreement that I have with Mark, which is as long as there is a sacred place that we have and an understanding, then he doesn't really care. And I think he'd rather that he be the one than it be another man. So it's a trade-off, right? If you're going to have a wife that is investigating emotions, better they be emotions for you.
One other thing that's happening today is the implementation of the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. I wonder if you had any thoughts on that.
Well, I think what's key is if you all are citizens and you're expected to pay taxes, then you should have certain rights. And if you don't have those rights, then you shouldn't pay taxes.
There's also rumblings in the UK that civil marriage will be changed to, will become full marriage rights in the UK, and I wonder if you have any thoughts on that as well.
America has to look to the law for guidance. I've seen people in the Christian community not walk the path of Christ on any level. My mother and I talk about this in depth. She's a minister's wife, and she does talk about her Christian faith. It's very deep and it's very real, and yet she believes in equal rights for all people, and that if you're consenting adults, then that is your right. If you really are a Christian, really and truly, then the judgments and the hate that I've seen from people that are running for office it's barbaric, and it's hypocritical, and it has nothing to do with the Christ compassionate path. Nothing.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
It's a delight to talk to you again.
And you.
Thank you.